So I put in what's called a subject access request to Coutts, the bank, who decided they wanted to close me out. I wanted to find out why. What was the reasoning behind them closing the account? Now, as you know, they had briefed the BBC that it was to do with lack of funds and nothing else. Well, here's the document. It is an incredible 40 pages. It reads rather like a brief that you'd give to a barrister ahead of a serious criminal trial. I mean, from the tone of this document, I must be one of the worst human beings ever to have inhabited this planet. But I guess if you were, upper middle class, wealthy, London, metropolitan elite, then that's perhaps how you would view me. Although quite what this has to do with banking and commerce, I don't really know. Let me give you just a few pointers as to what's in this document. Word searches are really interesting. Brexit is mentioned 30 times. Well, I think it's quite very easy to understand that. I don't think the globalist establishment, I don't think the corporates ever forgave anybody directly involved in the Brexit movement. They didn't accept the result of the referendum, and I guess they never ever will. Russia is mentioned 22 times, with links to a whole series of articles that appeared in The Guardian and elsewhere, attempting to link myself and Arron Banks to Russia, and indeed to Russian funding. All of that has been disproved, with Arron Banks winning his court case, his libel action against Carol Cadwalladr, the journalist involved, who wrote these things. But that's fine. All these people do is take every negative press article about me they possibly can and collate it in this document. Twice in this document, Sir Chris Bryant is mentioned. I hinted a couple of weeks ago I thought this could be behind it, and sure enough, twice the accusation made under parliamentary privilege that I'd received over £500,000 in 1 year from the Kremlin is mentioned in this document and constitutes quite a big part of their conclusions. Donald Trump, well, of course, he gets a mention. 14 times Donald Trump is mentioned. The fact that I support Donald Trump is, again, part of this charge sheet. Racist is mentioned 9 times, well, I thought it might be, and politically exposed person 5 times. Let me just give you 1 or 2 quotes from this that might be instructive. The client's financial position is now sufficient to retain on a commercial basis. The decision to close me down was made at a meeting on November the 17th last year on the Wealth Reputational Risk Committee. They got together and decided that once the small mortgage I had with them expired in 2023, they would get rid of me, even though I met the financial criteria on a commercial basis, contrary to what was spun to the BBC. They haven't told the truth on this, and I'm pretty blooming angry about it. But now we get into what this report's really all about. While it is accepted that no criminal convictions have resulted, gosh, they sound disappointed, don't they? Commentary and behaviours that do not align with the bank's purpose and values have been demonstrated. So the bank has a series of values. The bank has a series of political positions. And as for purpose, well, I thought the purpose of companies was to act ethically, yes, of course, but to return to their shareholders dividends. And in this case, folks, do you know who the shareholders are? It's you and me. This bank is part of the RBS group. It's 38.6% owned by us because we bailed them out in 2008 after their greed and short-sighted stupidity. We are the shareholders, but they're more bothered about putting up rainbow flags and being popular at dinner parties in Chelsea than they are about actually making money. When considering our stance, this is the bank's stance, specifically on ESG, diversity and inclusion, the comments and articles are not in line with our views or our purpose. That word purpose coming back again. I go on. He is seen as xenophobic and racist. Oh, charming. That's nice, isn't it? That really is lovely. Thank you so very much indeed for that. And here's the final one. In making the decision risk factors, including accusations of links to Russia and controversial public statements which were felt to conflict with the bank's purpose. So let's be clear. The decision to get rid of me wasn't financial. It was done because somehow I don't fit with their values. They were bailed out by us. They have a duty to run at a profit as a commercial business. But no, they are to be the moral guardians of all. And that's because the march through the public and private corporate sectors of left-wing institutions who want to change the way the world is, organizations like Stonewall, has led us exactly to where we are. And I guess it's not just Coutts, because I've been refused by 10 other banks. I will not get a UK bank account. That is done, dusted, over. Mercifully, in the modern world, there are fintech solutions where I can receive and pay money. I won't be able to earn interest on that money. I won't be able to borrow money. It won't be a full bank account, but I will be able to exist and survive. So is this all about me? No. Since I broke this story, the number of people who've been in touch with me, who've been summarily closed down by the banks, because see, the banks don't have to give any explanation. There's something called the tipping off rule, which means they don't have to tell you, for example, if the police are investigating your affairs. I'm not sure they've ever been challenged fully, publicly, over closure of bank accounts the way that I've done. The number of people running little businesses, window cleaners, taking cash. No, we don't want your business anymore as we move towards a cashless control society. Worst of all is this. Above our banks are a series of international agencies, the biggest of them being a firm being called Refinitiv. Okay. Banks go to that firm to see what our creditworthiness is, whether we are an acceptable risk to lend money to, for example. Now, I don't blame the banks for protecting themselves, but Refinitiv are now going to work with banks so they'll be able to check your social media posts. What has happened to me can very soon happen to you. And if it does, we start to move towards a China-style social credit system where our freedoms are gone, our liberty is gone, our ability to exist as ordinary human beings is gone unless we obey the accepted wisdom of the day. This is completely against free speech, completely against liberty, completely against democracy. And whilst I am absolutely fuming, at least with this document, I have got the truth. That is what is happening in modern Britain. We need radical change to legislation. We've got to change the PEP status rules. Otherwise, high-profile figures, people who could contribute to Parliament, won't go into politics if their children and their parents are at threat of having their bank account closed. We need a completely different attitude towards businesses that take cash. They're not all crooks. If you're running a market stall selling fish, you are going to take cash. And we need the right for everybody in this country, the right for everybody in this country to have a bank account and their own business account. I've given you a snapshot of all of this. You're going to get a lot more this evening. The Daily Telegraph have had full access to all of this. I'll be saying a lot more on my GB News show at 7 o'clock tonight. And if you want to be kept in touch with this and other issues that pretty much nobody else is talking about, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please subscribe to GB News's YouTube channel. There's a lot more where this came from.